Hello and welcome to another episode of Pitstop Fracas. I'm your host Richard, and we're here today to review the Bahrain Grand Prix live from Bahrain. Here to join me today to review the Grand Prix is none other than Kwame. Kwame, how are you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. We're live. We outside. We came through in Bahrain. Yeah, man. Shout out you, man. Shout out the fans.
Shout out the fans, yes, bro. Alright, next up we've got Chris. Chris, how are you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
To lay it up.
I was thinking about what I was saying.
What's the line again?
You ain't okay, man. It's been a long day, I mean.
Yeah, true. It's been long.
You guys keep something.
Yeah. Alright, and Swizzy Rick, how are you doing, brother? You crippin' today, yeah?
Crippin', don't put that on me.
Repping the blues, man. Repping that little blue.
What's
That's
on
it,
big
dude.
seas, no?
It's been very blue this trip, actually. We go through all the pictures stuff, it's been very blue.
Alright,
It's not even my colour, my colour's purple. So.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Team LH, yeah.
Team LH.
PG-10 more like.
Listen, how dare you?
Bro, I'm eating more of my PG-10 stocks than my LH stocks. You know how mad that is?
Yeah, true. So two of you pay for a crown, so. But anyways. Mahad, how are we doing today, bro?
I'm a McLaren fan. Why are you asking me how I'm doing?
I'm just. I ask in general, bro. I'm just asking in general.
I'm not well.
You know what? Oh, okay. Bless all.
Not what I've seen.
Bless
I
all.
saw Lando doing testing laps in a race. They pitted him 19 times. They might as well put an aero rake on it. I saw Oscar DNF because I don't know what happened. Gearbox sound. Car's a shit box, right? And then, yeah, we're just slower then.
The highlight.
And I'm there in it.
That's it. That's it.
But everybody's saying, oh, look, Mahad during Bahrain, you watch your team fail, da da da. I was here scouting F2, F3 talent, man. What about that?
But is it what the engineers? Because don't need the drivers edition.
No, listen, I'm an agent.
Yeah?
Trying to find the next Hamilton.
Is that why you're dressed like an employee? Anyways, alright, cool. Let's shall we start off with how about first Bahrain?
Shall we get my stuff out of the way and then...
Yeah. Twizzy, you cook, bro. Get your little season review out the way. Season review.
Okay, yeah, not much time, because got to go catch a plane soon. Yeah, I just wanted to say Bahrain trip was real good. Had a lot of fun, saw a lot of different things, for it being a first time, it was pretty interesting to see how many people how many different people that we had that were around and stuff like that. All the different events, it was a bit of like a festival thing. Funnily enough, it was just kind of a whole lot of different events that weren't necessarily related to Formula One itself, but they did make like a festival out of it, like a day out of it, which was pretty good. And yeah, I mean, getting onto the race itself, I need to make sure I let people know. Gazdi Hive, we won. We won. That's it. You know what I mean? It's 1-0 to us at the moment. A lot of people had a lot of talk yesterday. Ended up in P20. But I said I had hope. I was like, yo, look, we can make it up to P9. Or we can make it up into the points. We just need to put in a good drive that I know Gazdi's gonna put in. I know he can put in a good drive, even though there were other cars around him that were in and around that same performance as the Alpine, if not better. I mean, like for Aston Martin, it's like insane how much higher they've shot up as well. I mean, you got Total saying that they're probably like the second fastest team right now, which is like insane. So yeah, like Gasly getting points, that's all I could ever want right now. That's all I could ever want, especially seeing after the Alpine was just like not great at all. Yeah, so we're eating, man. So I should say we're eating.
Maybe because you was inspired because you was there. You got your Gussie top on.
Yes.
See them live.
Follow me on Twitter, yeah.
Power
See them top on the back, yeah. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, that top on the hat, 140 to go. I'm bleeding to rep the team. Like I need the listeners to know, like I am bleeding to rep the team. This ain't no joke thing. Guys, they have forever, bro.
PG10 forever.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about Quali. Okay. So of course we raised Quali love and whatnot. So Kwame, let's get your thoughts on Quali then, as a whole. So what do you think of who impressed you, who didn't, and all that jazz? Yeah.
Quali was interesting. I felt like it was a good kind of mix of what happened, but there was a few shocks here and there. I feel like the biggest shock for me was Hockenberg against Q3, especially David against P10. I mean, that Haas car, he had Magnussen didn't make it out of Q1. Yes, they've got a lot of fire parts, but I don't think people thought they would be that high up there, especially that comfortable. So he did a good job. I feel like the Williams as well. Logan Sargent got the same, exactly the same time as Norris, who himself qualified in P11. And even though they make it out of Q1, that's still a good shooing for rookie in his first qualification. And even at the album, he got into Q2 as well. So I feel like them three were quite a shock, and also Yuki as well. Man qualifying De Vries. I mean, De Vries was, if you take away Gasly's 3 year time, man was basically at the back of the grid. And you got Yuki into Q2. So I feel like them 4 drivers, the midfield is very close and tight. We saw that in Quali. What gap of 1.1 seconds between first and the full 20 full 20 cars in the grid, which is insane. I mean, you've got to give it to what's born here. He's cooking with these regulations because only in the second season we're seeing gaps getting closed already. So Quali was fun, man. Long story short, nice surprises there as well.
Yeah, cool. Chris, what's your takeaways from Quali then? Any highlights who impressed you, who didn't impress you, and just anything in general?
People impressed me. Hulkenberg, he was quite high up. Obviously Lando did well. Logan being the best of rookies, like he did his thing. I would say the Alfa Romeo kind of disappointed me because I expected more from Bottas, but we don't know. It's the first race. We don't know how things will ebb and flow. So, but it was a good experience. It's very different to see it live in the flesh in person. You can see like some drivers like the Williams and especially the McLaren, the way they will seesawing at the wheels at turn 1 and 2 quite violently, trying to keep the cars under control. It's very different experience, and you can see the way the car the track dips and moves as well. So it's like very different, much more like it's much more aggressive than you see it on TV. So it's like seeing it in person is a lot different, and the feel of it in person is a lot different. So it made it, although you can't keep on top of everything, it made it a lot more like you understand a lot more what it feels like to be in the car, just being there in person.
No, yeah, most definitely. So Mahad, what's your thoughts of Quali anyway? Who's your winners of Quali? Who's your losers of Quali? And just any takes in general, and just around Quali.
Winners of Quali, Red Bull and Ferrari. Ferrari still got that one, like pace. You could see what Leclerc did in Q2, and them easily dealing with the Mercedes and Aston Martin when it came to one lap pace. It kind of looked like they were a class apart from the rest of the pack, apart from Red Bull. Red Bull just did Red Bull things. Aston Martin kind of showed, listen, we might be faster than the team we're buying engines from. We might be faster than them. So yeah, it's interesting Quali because we could see that, especially the spread gap. Like Kwame said, look, these rigs are cooking now. We're seeing the teams that are having more wind tunnel time, making lots and lots of gains, and the top teams kind of stagnating apart from Red Bull. So it's really going to be good to see how it works over the season, to see those teams that like maybe have 120% wind tunnel time compared to your Red Bulls that have a 63% wind tunnel time. I think disappointing, obviously, McLaren. McLaren looked horrible. It looked like a horrible car to handle. Just looking at it in person, especially turn 2, turn 3, the only people that are really struggling and having lots of different auto corrections were Piastri and Norris, because that's clearly a really difficult car to handle. And yeah, I think especially with McLaren and AlphaTauri and Williams, they just didn't look like they had that one lap pace. But race day kind of was different for especially when I seen Williams. So I know we'll be speaking on that as well.
Cool. Okay. Let's move on to the race start. So, of course, we had the race start. We managed to watch this live, kind of late. So, of course, Shaw with his jelly wrist, he managed to clock Alonso, Daddy on bound for him. And Okanada Harlow with the positioning, good positioning thing. Yeah, basically. So, Kwame, I'm coming to you on this. What's your thoughts on the race start then?
I feel like the main, thing that happened at the start was Stroll and Alonso. That was the main thing. Stroll kind of, trying to overtake Alonso, cooking it. Alonso didn't have the best of starts, but we'll talk about later how that didn't affect him as much as it should have done. But yeah, that incident there could have been much more of a bigger one because it could potentially been double DNF for Aston Martin. That's how serious that crash was, but yeah, they recovered it. So
Yeah, that Aston Martin made of steel, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, usually if you get that kind of incident, you're finished.
Even driving, yeah.
Rear wing maybe dusted. Get me side panel.
No.
Got to a pit.
We'll alignment to it. No.
following as well from Stroll because he saw
Front wheel is fine.
other drivers this weekend, Hulkenberg, a bit of curb and their wings were dusted, but that wasn't the case, for the Aston Martins. And even watching it back in the commentary, even the stands watching it back, they were even saying how surprised how strong the Aston Martin was. Even so, the overtakes they did late in the race, they were putting in more wheel-to-wheel action than they should have. So yeah,
We have to give allowances to Stroll anyway.
that as well.
What is Dan Fallow's cooking?
No, it's not even what Dan's fellas cooking. What's FIA cooking? What's everybody cooking to allow a guy with 2 broken wrists and a broken toe to come jump in a car? He did well though.
He did. He didn't die. He got, what is it, 5th, was it?
P6.
P6. That's still impressive.
He's got guts, man.
And I was seeing that he's meant to be back. They were planning for him to be back in Australia, Baku. Not even as early as Bahrain. So
Damn.
well, it's 2 weeks as well. Like 15 days it's been since that accident happened.
And he's already cooking like this. Hopefully that doesn't affect him in the long run in terms of health. Or, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. I don't know why MotoGP doctors are giving you the okay. That's a bit weird to me, but...
They know about wrist injuries, no? Because it's back there.
No, it's not. It's more they just got they patch you up.
Like,
The man will patch
Yeah,
you
but
up
they-
instantly.
If the way you fall on the bicycle is the same as the mop, man, no? The same mechanics.
I don't fall off my bike, man.
I said I got the stabilizer.
It's got stabilized. Oh, man. Fuck you know.
Right, okay. But hopefully Shaw doesn't have any long-term effects, but I have to wait and see, because he was looking a bit sketchy this weekend, I'm not lying, in terms of like practice, quality, but he managed to get through, so fair enough. Okay, let's move on to probably the most interesting scrap of the whole race. That was Aston Martin versus Mercedes. Now, this is a bit of an oxymoron because, of course, Aston Martin take Mercedes engines, gearbox, rear suspension, to be fair. But they still managed to make it look a bit silly, to be fair. And it is quite funny that Toto Wolff came out and said their concept was not wrong and they might need to start again. So is that like a early excuse to get out of the way because they were expecting Aston Martin to cook? Or is there more to it? Well, let's get on to, let's go to Chris. Chris, what's your opinion? I know you're saying, of course, because your op did quite well today. And both of your guys didn't do quite well today. Maybe it's more of a car issue. I think I'd like to lean on that. But yeah, what's your opinions on Mercedes' performance today and Aston Martin's performance today also?
So Aston Martin have clearly built a good car. It's driving we can see it with our eyes when we're watching it through turn 1. We can see that the Red Bull and Aston Martin were flying through that corner. They looked very balanced and under control, and their tyre wear was very, very good. Like their tyres were lasting in stints. They were always closing in on Mercedes at the end of these stints. So it wasn't necessarily right away they were on them. It was at the end of stints where they were closing up the gap. So we saw at the end of the race, Stroll closing up to Lewis. We saw in the end of the first step, Alonso got George. So it's clear that this car is looking after its tyres, it's well balanced, and the drivers are having fun driving it. Like you see Alonso gleaming on the radio, talking about how great everything is. Whereas you go to Mercedes and you see that the way they're talking is like there's a lot of work to be done. You know, we heard George complain about tyre wear. We've heard stories about rate instability. We've heard stories about this, that, and another. The concept is wrong. They need to make a big change. I don't know what the ins and outs of the concept are. That's not our expertise, but they need to fix something. We need to find out what's actually wrong and where to make things correct. They tried to be brave and stick with their current concept. It was wrong. They were wrong and strong, and now they're suffering the consequences. Like, you have two world-class drivers, but they can't do the things that world-class drivers do when your car is just not good enough. It's poor. Like, Sainz's tyres were finished, and Ferrari have problems with tyre wear, but Mercedes couldn't beat them on traction because their tyre is also bad. Their traction is bad, so it's like this track kind of exposed a lot of the weaknesses in that car as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Mahad, I'm coming to you for the same thing. Any opinions? Any opinions on Mercedes? How you think they did this weekend? Aston Martin, I'm hearing a lot of bitter talk from people saying, "Oh, who's the Aston Martin league or bitter too." But yeah, what's your opinions on both these teams and how they fared so far in the season opener?
I think, can't lie, a lot of the internet fan base, they have to owe these journalists an apology. Because when they told you lot Aston Martin is faster than Mercedes, you lot were saying this is testing joke, this is not real, these lot don't know what they're talking about, and so on. Listen, it's clear as day, man. It's clear as day, Aston Martin. It's gonna be like an Aston Martin Ferrari thing. We've already seen Red Bull down the road. Unless Merc could do something drastic, I saw too many times where it just looked like Aston Martin was the superior car today compared to Merc. We saw what George getting overtaken by Stroll. Stroll's got no hands, man. He's got no wrists, and he just dispatched him like it's nothing. Imagine a fully fit Stroll. A fully fit Stroll gets P4. In front of Lewis. By the end of the race, he was catching Lewis anyway, with no wrists. So now Toto said that the concept's wrong. We need to change it. Blah blah blah. You can't go into a season like this. We've seen that McLaren already admitted that the concept was wrong and they were going in the wrong direction back in December, and that the new car is not ready until Baku, and they're getting cooked for that. The Mercedes are basically saying we're scrapping from race one. So when is this new car gonna come?
Yeah.
But McLaren, the team, don't get heat, but Mercedes don't get heat for changing their mind on concepts. It's scary hours. Aston Martin, obviously Fernando Alonso is going to show you the ceiling in the car. Guess what? He showed the ceiling in the car. Wonderful move with Lewis Hamilton. Cooked all day. Stroll's eating as well. It makes me sick. I'm not really particularly fond of Aston Martin, but obviously they've cooked something up. Dan Fallows has picked something up from Newey. They know how to deal with ground effect cars. They know. It's funny because the Aston Martin kind of looks like the Ferrari rather than the Red Bull, but clearly they're doing the same thing as Red Bull with the underfloor. And it's not like Aston Martin's anywhere near Red Bull. They're not, because if you saw the time gap between Max Verstappen and third place, I'm sure it was like 38 seconds or something like that.
Yeah,
if you want to confirm.
Yeah.
So they're not even in the same stratosphere as Red Bull, but they might be clearly better than Ferrari and Mercedes right now. So now over to you, Ferrari. Over to you, Mercedes. See, you can chat to Aston Martin later this season. Remember that Aston Martin has significantly more development and CFD time this season than both of those teams. So it could be scary hours. Or the car could be illegal.
That is the easy.
Allegedly.
That is the easy quip to go to, but obviously, if you have eyes and a brain, if you look at the trajectory of the second half of the season, this shouldn't be that much of a surprise in the grand scheme of things. I'm not gonna jump the boat and be like, yo, second best car in the way, because we've seen in Bahrain it can be sort of like a deception trap. If you cook in Bahrain, doesn't mean you're gonna cook for the rest of the season. Forget about developments and stuff like that. The real test is, let's say, when it gets to Baku, to see, is that car legit? Is the hype real? Is this not just, you know, we've had a good day sort of situation, if you know what I mean? But yeah, they look significantly better than the whole field apart from Red Bull, to be fair. And I can't fault them. And Alonso was sweeping, I can't lie, it was mad. Like the movie put up on Lewis was crazy, I can't lie. And he's able to do stuff like that in a car like that. And unfit straws able to sweep like that. It's kind of scary, I can't lie. But I suppose that's the perks, if you will, you get when you hire people from the big three. People from Ferrari, people from Red Bull, people from Mercedes, when they can convolute, if you will, and put the ideas together. Hey, they can cook up a good car. Who would have thought? But yeah. Kwame, I'll come to you for this. Do you think the hype of Aston Martin is real, or do you think it was just Bahrain tax, as I like to say?
I think the hype's real. I think the hype's real. You know, if you look at all the Giants pre-season, that's the reason why they were saying Aston Martin should be top 3. Even looking at the drivers as well, looking at the interviews, comparing Lewis and George's personality, their persona about McLaren, about Mercedes. So a lot of them were not, both of them two were not sure about, we hope we'd be up there, or we should, improve, we should be better. I didn't get that the atmosphere or that vibe at all from Aston Martin. Fernando seemed very rejuvenated. But his picture on the screen looks like he's like age 10 years younger. Like it looked like yeah, man's happy to race. Sure, is again cooking with no wrist. What they've done well is I feel like they've got the best bits of each of the teams. So Mercedes are using as much parts as they can do. That's possible. And then the aerodynamics is kind of swaying towards Red Bull, who are the best aerodynamic team in this current race. So mix of both roles. Again, their floor is very similar to Red Bull, which is with this ground effect cars, is where most of the pace is coming from, and that in the exhaust as well. So I find it's been very logical, and like you said, the improvement was there from last year. I didn't think it'd be this much of an improvement, but they pretty last one.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Gonna have to see how that battle pans out for the rest of the season, but it's definitely looking interesting already. So let's move on to Ferrari. So in the race, Charles was comfy-ish second for some period of time, and then about lap, I can't remember what lap it was, maybe like lap 41, something like that. He got a DNF, a mechanical error. We don't know as far as where we are up to in recording right now, what the actual error was in terms of
Just
this.
an
Engine.
Yeah, very vague, but engine.
I think it was. I think Perez was a good. Then
Yeah, Perez was
it
a
was like in no man's land
P3.
P3.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's funny as well, because I do recall Charles saying that he got a new battery as well. So there's a fair bit of work for Frederick Vasseur and Co to do there. Also, Sainz, he wasn't really anywhere to be fair. I mean, he did finish 4th, but he finished 10 seconds behind Fernando Alonso, and Lewis was gaining on him, and Stroll had wrist, he probably would have gained on him too, to be fair. So, Chris, I'm going to come to you on this. What do you think of Ferrari's Sunday, and how successful in a way would you put down Frederick Vasseur's first race in charge of the Scuderia?
It's been a failure, but it's not his fault. It's, the car seems to eat its tyres, which is the problem that Sainz is facing. So he was on the defensive the entire time, and he even said that if I defend, I won't make it to the end of the race because, the tyres are cooked. In Leclerc's case, there's an engine problem. We don't know why. It could be a piece of bad luck, could be just someone doing something wrong. Until they take it back and look at it, we won't know. I think in quali pace, they're not far off the Red Bull. And I think it's just a case of them maximizing the car. So right now, it's still early. We've only done 3 days of testing, and this is the first race. So we don't know the maximum capabilities of these cars. So we don't know how good the Ferrari is, because the Ferrari was seemingly nowhere, then they suddenly jumped up to be towards the front. And I think once they get things cracking and moving correctly, I think they'll be a lot closer to Red Bull, and it shouldn't be as easy as of domination that Red Bull have. So right now, there's still a lot of work to be done, and I think Fred Fizzle's even said that there's a lot of work to be done, but I think it's becoming clearer the sort of things they need to do to fix and be better. So I think they're in the tussle for second right now, but I think over the course they will jump ahead of Aston Martin, even regardless of Aston's development time.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that, Chris. So I'll put you on the Kwame. What did you think of Ferrari's weekend in total? How they looked in Quali, and the race up until Charles DNF, and Sainz's performance also.
So I feel like they're in a similar position to where they were last year, in the sense that their quality around that place seems to be very good. So they do seem to have like a fast car, but the issue is their actual race pace in itself is totally quite questionable. Last year was more of an issue, more of strategy and engines. Bahrain is not really it is power heavy, engine heavy, but it's not really a place that strategy really heavy either. So it seemed to be more of they've got issue with the race pace that, like Chris said, we don't know if it's to do with how their car's set up, that's cooking their tires, or the way their car's set up, that the engine's blowing up, or if these issues are just kind of happening by chance. To me, it doesn't seem like it's happening by chance. They kind of need to sort out what's happening. But the car's fast. It will be battling for second place. It's just being more consistent with longer stints, which I think they'll be over the season.
Yeah, cool. Right, let's move on to McLaren. So McLaren didn't have the best of some days. Oscar Piastri had a DNF, I think because of steering issue, and also gearbox issue. Yeah, that's correct. And Lando Norris, he finished 17th, or basically last, because apparently he was doing basically testing runs in a race, which is just quite alarming, to be fair. So, perfect person to go to for this one is none other than Mahad. How much are McLaren in trouble?
We're not in trouble. You just have to go through said pain. If they told you this was going to happen and it happened, why should you be surprised by it? They told you they haven't developed the car that's there since December. Since the second cycle left, they haven't developed that car. They started doing something else. They went in a different direction, development-wise. They said the first 3 races are going to be pain. Here we are, we're in pain. The car is extremely difficult to drive. If they found out something that could possibly propel the car forward to the top of the midfield, you're better off pursuing that direction, right? So they've gone down that direction. They've done it early, not in enough time to be ready for the new season. But I'm quite confident that things will start to settle down and things will start to progress. Everybody was doing doom and gloom last year. I remember this time last year, Bahrain, when we were like 17th, we were the same type of positions we're in now, and we'll be saying, "Oh, McLaren finished. There's nothing. What's going to happen here? Questions need to be asked." And then 3 races later, they're on a podium, and they're top of the midfield. So I don't really act reactionary to a place like Bahrain. Obviously, it's painful if you're a McLaren fan to see that type of stuff, especially if you're a Lando fan. You don't want to every season you start off badly, but it's just about getting through this process at this moment in time. 2023 was never marked as a year to do anything special whatsoever. The key years are 2024 and 2026, so you just keep pushing to that. Piastri, unfortunately, didn't get to really have a debut out of his own control, so anybody that's like, "Oh my God, look, Daniel, look, this is what happens when you treat Daniel this way," whatever, you guys are delusional. First of all, I've seen people saying, "Look, Oscar went to McLaren to qualify 18th. But Daniel Ricciardo qualified 18th in the same race last year." So let's have some shame here. He's a rookie. That was his first ever F1 race, and it kind of got taken out of his own hands. I saw a nice overtake by Oscar on, who was it? forgot it was. Was it Joe?
So it's starting it.
It was like the first couple laps.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know why Joe was even down there in the first place, again overtaken by McLaren's. Lando Norris.
Actually, I think I have an explanation. Joe might have been the person that Ocon hit at the beginning of the race.
You provide evidence for that. We'll talk about that.
Because Ocon changed his front wing, so I'm thinking, and then Joe fell back the way he did.
No,
Yeah, but we don't know. We were like you guys who are watching at home could see.
yeah. Obviously, then I think it got to a point. Lando was holding on to, I think it was like P8, P9 for a while. In the first couple of laps, and it just wasn't sustainable. He was having lockups in turn one. It's not the first time that a McLaren locked up on turn one or had issues in turn 2 and 3. It was very, very, out of all the cars that look like these lot fight for their lives driving that car, and that's not a good sign. But it kind of shows that's a car that hasn't been touched since December. They just said, okay, we're gonna go somewhere else with it. And that's what happens when you got a car that you're not really particularly interested in because you've got a new thing coming. That's how it's going to be. So it's going to be a bit of teething pains. Bahrain track. It's not really a track where you can come with an undeveloped car, especially with the amount of testing everybody else has gone to refine and tweak their car to actually perform well in Bahrain. And they just got caught napping. They kind of just threw the towel in once Lando started having engine issues. So they just said, oh, let's just do some testing and work out this, but they've got very similar issues to Ferrari in terms of the tyre deck as well. But eating up tyres, so they're just trying to work that issue out and just collect some data as well. So it's not all doom and gloom. We had 0 points on the board this time last year in Bahrain. Got 0 points on the board now. Yeah, it's a long season. If it's still like this in Barcelona, then I'll come back to talk to me about how I really feel.
I'll be there no matter what.
You'll be there no matter what.
I'll be there no matter what.
It's pissing me off because you're Aston Martin fan. It's making me sick.
So it's ironic, yeah, because they are stopping both drivers, but I just don't care about the brand itself.
Dan Fellow should be at McLaren, but Red Bull was trying to take us to court.
I read about that, I know.
2014.
Yeah.
And then we had to stop. He signed a contract with us. And Red Bull's crying about it.
We have a son now, due. And then Lawrence struck him and said, no, we'll pay them fees.
And you had them on gardening leave for a year and a half in the cupboard.
No, it wasn't even that. It was Red Bull wanted him on garden leave for a year and a half, but we brought the start date forward. That's why he started last year, like April.
He started after Barcelona.
Yeah, midfield season.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but he wanted him on garden leave for longer. This is why that's what's cooking now. Because this is what Red Bull didn't want. Even though we're not threats Red Bull, but this is not what they wanted. But hey ho, get how you live in it. How you live. So right, okay. Okay, so let's move on to Red Bull. So, of course, Max finished about 12 seconds off the road. Checo was about, what was it? 27 seconds out of Alonso. Red Bull absolutely cooked today. So, Kwame, I'm going to put you in this. What did you think of Red Bull's dominant performance today?
Oh, but they were cooking. They were dominant. Like we said, there was a point where we didn't know where Max was because he was in his own field. Yeah, about what? 10 seconds of his teammate, their team's off 27 seconds of Alonso, which kind of shows how dominant they were. Because, like, Perez to be that far ahead of Alonso, like, Perez, some races he can very get lost in the midfield at times, and he didn't do that today, so you got to give it to them. And it kind of shows how far they progressed from last year. Qualified been 14 minutes as well in the sense how close it was, but race pace, they were another league.
Cool. So let's move on to driver of the day. Chris, I'm going to come to you on this. Who's your driver of the day?
I will go with Lance Stroll because he has no risks and a broken toe, and he's still put ahead of one of the Mercedes, closing on the other. It was a very strong performance. His teammate obviously deserves an honourable mention shot as well, and the race winner because you've won the race at Cantor. But I'll give it to Lance Stroll just through the circumstance of no testing, and he's come back and done this while being quite clearly not 100%. So that's my reason for driver of the day.
Cool. Kwame, who's your driver of the day?
I'm gonna go for a niche pick here. I feel like onboard shout-outs for sure would be Stroll, Alonso, Gasly, Max, but I'm gonna go for Albon actually. The Williams actually surprised me. To be fair, him getting P10. He had a lot of pressure from Yuki in behind as well. He was for the majority of it was fine up with Gasly as well, who shot up the grid in the faster car in the Alpine. But the fact that they got a P10, the fact that again in Bahrain they were he came P15 as well in Quali. Yeah, I got to give it to him. I didn't think they'd be this fast, this quick in Bahrain. I thought they'd be at the back of the grid. So the fact that him and Sargent P10, P12, got to give it to Williams. It's just be interesting to see how they progress their car, because just computer FX have both gone. The one James Vowles. Obviously, he ain't gonna make this car in a couple months, couple weeks. So, be interested to see if they go up or down throughout the season. So I think that'll be something to watch out on their progression. And also because they came last, they had the most 120% time as well on wind tunnel. So watch out for them.
Cool. And Mahad, who's your driver today?
Last Stroll. Has to be Last Stroll. I know people want to say Pierre Gasly and Fernando Alonso. That's expected. Pierre Gasly's not going to be in the back the whole race with a bloody Alpine, is he? And Fernando Alonso, if you give him a car, you've seen if you give him a car what he does. But you have to understand, Lance Stroll did 0 testing, had surgery like 13 days ago, was getting like help getting out of the car, was crying about his wrists in practice, and was pulling off moves and dunking on people and putting P8 in quali and P6 in the race. So yeah, and you must be wondering why I'm off camera. Well, one of the cameras battery died, so we rejigged, guys.
Yeah,
I thought the director just wanted to change position.
Listen, listeners, you're gonna have to hold.
Are you calling me Spielberg? I'm a chaotic director. Get better lighting.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's give him more. Who's his face? Who directed? Was it Inglourious?
That was in Tarantino.
Yeah. Let's just give him.
Hey, we don't say that word on this
No,
good now.
of course not.
But is that a bad word, John?
Look, we have.
Let me not speak.
Let's move on.
Let me not
Let's
speak.
move
Yeah,
on.
let's not speak on that.
Oh, so we've gone in the same boat as R&B, man. Let's move on. Latifi Award. Who's your Latifi Award, Mahad?
Latifi Award is for Ocon. Because what was he doing?
I don't know. You told me. I was gonna do.
Multiple penalties. Went from in the points to out the race. Very chaotic. His teammate was just dunking on his skull. I know a lot of situations. I know, look, Chris is getting stressed out because that's your boy. But he's got to hold that. Oh, the other candidate's George Russell, telling Lewis Hamilton, I'm faster than you, and then ended up getting cooked by Stroll. A guy with no wrists.
That's crazy.
But yeah,
I'll say my one in a second.
I'm gonna say Ocon and just Ocon. That's it.
Cool. Not to segue, but my driver today is also Lance Stroll for the same reasons as the guys mentioned. But Chris, I'm coming to you for your Latifi Award.
My Latifi Award belongs to the other driver who started in the points and ended up out of the points.
Who's that?
With the penalty, Hulkenberg.
Okay.
So it's easy to say Ocon, and to give a different name, Hulkenberg also went out of the points. A lot of track limit issues. Hit his front wing and had it changed. It was just a bit of a very poor race. Like, he dropped back instantly from the beginning, and he's there to lead the team, but he's behind. Came back in the end. He had a shocking qualifying session. So it is what it is. It's a bit of a stinker today for Haas. They know it from both sides. It wasn't good enough. So, but again, yeah, we'll see what they have cooked up in Jeddah. But it was a bit of a stinker from him and Ocon today.
That's in the Harley, yeah? Calm. Kwame.
I would have actually given to Hulkenberg, but I've got another driver I know I can give it to. Joe Gagne.
This guy.
No. Move on, man. Move on. This.
No.
Don't even give him time. Don't give him time. Don't give him time.
No.
Okay, you've got 15 seconds. Tell me why.
So his teammate was
I'm counting as well.
His teammate was in P8. his teammate was actually cooking, to be fair with you, in that midfield and in the points. He had his own race, no crashes, nothing. This guy was the Vries was there, overtaking man. This guy was there, with P16, so second to last in the grid.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, I was seeing man saying, if this guy is the next common thing, he's get points. The lights on you. Listen, I want the guy to do well, and I'm not a hater. People even think I hate. I don't hate.
You doing too much.
You're doing too much.
Well,
More of
yeah,
it to say.
yeah, Kwame is out of full effect. Allowed.
Look, just say Bottas did a good job. Bottas did a good job today. Drove
Your
well.
team-
Yeah, why do we boss us as well?
Yeah, good job. Bro, you compare yourself to your teammate, no?
Let's just move on, man. We don't really need to talk about that bad guy.
Okay, my Latifi Award is Charles Leclerc because I'm a prick.
Honest man. Me, I'm honest.
He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, but I don't even know who had actual stuff.
Richard was in the stand, saw the smoke come out from Leclerc. Like I said, that's my drive of the day. That's my balls of the day.
For water, because in the desert it actually gets quite hot, So,
Oh,
yeah. So I managed to see it on big TV. To be honest, I did not see it live. Well, I did see it live, but yeah, whatever. But I don't know who actually stunk, so I can't give you a proper answer. So I'm just saying, Leclerc, because I'm a prick.
Give us an answer of your experience.
Of my experience?
The track, guys.
Maybe George.
No, give us your experience of the
Oh,
track
sorry.
this weekend.
I thought. No, don't do that. No, I thought you meant from my experience.
Yeah.
Stunk.
George didn't look good.
I know. Yeah, it didn't look good. But okay, let's move on to our experience.
Yeah.
For listeners, yes, we are out here in Bahrain. I know you're just thinking, oh, maybe we're in someone's house,
And Airbnb,
whatever.
them things there.
But that's not the case. We are having it in Bahrain. Vlog out soon. Make sure you watch that. My experience. Interesting, I want to say. Flight A was terrible. The country is very small. I can't lie. It's like an island, to be fair. You can probably clear the country in like 40 minutes. It's mad. Track's in the middle of nowhere. It's literally in a desert. It's not surrounded by it. Town centre, it's alright. If you go along the not the river, but what is it? Where we went to eat.
Oh, that's kind of like a bay. Yeah, it's quite a bay.
Yeah, that's quite nice. I think it's the Four Seasons in the backdrop. What else? We didn't go the off license, unfortunately, so that would have been quite funny for the vlog. Airport's really nice, top tier, very small, only one terminal, so it's kind of, if you're waiting for a long flight, it's maybe not the most ideal thing in the world. Prices for stuff. Prices at the track for at least for water and juices and stuff like that was really good. For an entertainment perspective, water was £1, juices were £1. Usually you go to Wild or something, that's £4 that you have to hold that. Or you're waiting outside the dispenser for about 2 hours, which is long. In terms of food and that, food is not the best, I'll be honest with you. Even in and out, maybe those ones are wrong restaurants.
I say a lot of what we experience is a lot of fast food choices. So if you're a person using on your healthy eating, you're on a diet, you've got other dietary requirements. Think before you travel now, can't I? No one sleep but
I say PTs don't come here.
yeah.
They just all that. What else? You might can chime in. I can't think of what else.
Great facilities.
Airbnb is nice.
It's very clean.
Yeah.
The toilets and stuff nice. There's a lot of them. There is a lot of different food vendors and a lot of F1 stores scattered about. The karting track was good fun. So there's something else you can do. The karting. There's a lot of attractions going on. So they try to make a spectacle of things, and seeing as all the stands are next to each other, it's all concentrated in one place. So you're not running around too much. So everything's quite well organised, and obviously there's some trickier bits that you have just to learn while you're here, but generally it's quite clean, very safe, and it was a good vibe.
I agree still. I'll say it's very family friendly as well. So there are a lot of performances going on as well. There's these clown kind of, don't say clown people, but So some dog sacks in it, like around.
Just people on stilts.
So yeah, all that.
Nice jobs.
Where you find them?
Hmm?
Where you find the people?
Oh, okay, with the question, man. We're recording. Also, one thing that we've got to note is about alcohol consumption. There's only one place where there are people consuming alcohol, so generally it's actually quite very family friendly and quite pleasant. So you're able to you won't be necessarily next to someone drunk, or outlandish behaviour that's been a problem at other venues. Whereas here it's been, I haven't noticed any of it, and I haven't seen any reports of anything like that. So it's actually it's been very nice to see.
Wide range of fans as well, and also one thing that's quite important is like travelling as well. So this country is mainly built with a lot of roads and motorways. So bear that in mind if you coming here. Uber will be your best friend, or a hire car will be your best friend. They ain't no like public transport to get to A to B. So bear that in mind when coming here. Traffic ain't the best in all honesty. Ain't the best, but if you do plan ahead, you can get to the place quickly.
Yeah, of course, you talk about the entertainment aspects in terms of like next to the track. So of course, they had the Pitstop Challenge, which was really fun. They had what's his name?
Okay, David or.
To be fair, we'll see all of this in the vlog as well.
Yeah, you see all of them.
Their fans were there as well, so certain drivers came up and talked to the fans as well. There's a whole list of people there. My brother Latoya, Mika, Vowels was there, Gunther. So.
But yeah, that's all for today's pod. Please make sure you do the usual, of course. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, make sure to stay tuned for another episode with Pitstop Fracas next week and for the upcoming vlog. Peace.
Peace.